Namaste, good evening, welcome. The panel today is a representative, quite a representative of Indian languages from north to south, east to west. I think it's for the first time on any platform in the country that we have such a range of Indian languages. Thank you, Jaipur Bookmark. Means a lot. Indian publishing story is a story of perseverance. And why I say so? Because most of us have smaller pockets. Most of us have generations invested into bringing out good literature year after year, month after month, week after week. Most of us face challenges with taxation, ever-increasing paper prices. They've increased 4 times in last 6 quarters because it got all impacted with the Ukraine war. Most of us sleep well when a good book reaches the office from the press, and we lose our sleep when something goes wrong with the author of the book. हमारे सपने भी एक जैसे हैं और हमारे उत्सव भी एक जैसे हैं और हमारे मातम भी कुछ एक जैसे ही हैं. So आज it's a pretty comfortably dual, bilingual, multilingual panel we have, and we'll try to keep it accessible to each one of you in English and Hindi. I'll be the translator for Hindi, and where there will be a need. And to start with, we'll start with Vasudhendra today, because I will, because in the last panel, yes, we will start with you today, Vasudhendra, because of 2 reasons. Apart from the fact that since childhood you were on the last row of the attendance list, we are going to overturn that as your besties. We are going to also ask you 2 important questions. Number 1, let's do a rapid fire for each one of us. 1 book that gave us good money. Yeah. 1 book that gave us good sleep. And 1 book that should have done well but didn't do as well. Yeah. And of course, why you came into publishing and what's happening with your list. Of course, we heard it in the last session, but there are many more stories, Vasu. On a serious note, we'd love to start. And from there, we'll go to Ashok ji from here.
Okay, shall we start with Vishal, Soni?
Please.
Okay, yeah, thanks. So, like, 1 book which gave me money is the last session I introduced. It's called as Tejo Tungabhadra. So it's seen almost like 20 reprints now. So and within 4 years. So within 4 years, and now every year 2 to 3 reprints is happening. So that's giving me enough money. Okay, so. Generally, so we get money from our own publications only. So if you are a very good author and you are selling well, better you start your publication. Don't give it to anyone else. Okay, so that's a tip for you. One really, in your language at least. And the second one, Nightless actually, is I published the book on gay literature. Okay, so Mohanaswamy, and on that day, Supreme Court ruled out saying that we are all criminals. Okay, so all the LGBTs are criminals. I could not sleep. Like, what are they going to do? So are they going to put me in jail? So I was very scared actually.
Which year was this?
2013, December 11th. Okay, so that's the day.
So 377 got challenged in 2019.
Afterwards. Yeah. But that day, Supreme Court ruled saying that you are all criminals. Right. So they retained the 377. So got so scared actually what's going to happen to me.
But kudos to you for doing it. Big round of applause.
Yeah, in 2013. So I was very scared. But what I made myself is like, even if I go to jail, so there will be a lot of gay men there. So I'll be comfortable in jail than being in the city. So So that is the console which I took. And one book which I thought it's going to do very well and didn't do very well is actually Persepolis. Persepolis, I translated it from English to, it's been written in the French and French to Kannada with lot of interest and lot of quality, everything I do. But what happened, it's breaking the barrier is so difficult. It's such a beautiful book. I love that book. But what happens is whenever the Kannada reader opens the first graphic novel it is, so when they open it, they say it's for kids. They don't even touch that book. Yeah. So they're not used to the graphic novel set. So I'm very scared of graphic novels now, actually, though it's very nice to point, but that's something which I have a fear. Okay. But otherwise, the books have been well received. All the books have been well received.
Lovely. Thank you. We'll come to Ashok ji. Rajkamal Prakashan Samu has been ever since independent India has been in existence, and we'll request you to share your 2 thoughts on it.
नमस्कार. राजकमल प्रकाशन के बारे में बताने से पहले मुझे लगता है कि मैं कुछ इंडस्ट्री के बारे में बात करना चाहता हूँ. 2-3 दिन से जो यहाँ सब देख रहा हूँ, नए नए प्रकाशक और इतने ऊर्जावान प्रकाशक मैंने सोचा नहीं था. जैसे से तेलुगु से स्मिता ने बात की, इधर कन्नड़ से इन्होंने बात की, वसुधेंद्र ने, और आज 3 तमिल प्रकाशक थी यहाँ पर. मतलब बहुत ही खुशी की बात थी कि भारतीय भाषाओं में इतना अच्छा काम हो रहा है. कुछ इसी को लेकर के कुछ बात मैं कहना चाहता हूँ कि हम कितना कर सकते हैं. शायद कुछ ऐसा छिपा हुआ है जो अभी हम इसको देख नहीं पा रहे हैं. कुछ अपनी बात कहता हूँ. मेरा जो समय 5 मिनट का है, मैं इसी काम में लगाना चाहता हूँ. सबसे पहले JVM का धन्यवाद कि साहित्यिक पुस्तकें प्रकाशित करने वाले भारतीय भाषा प्रकाशकों को एक साथ एक जगह बैठने की शुरुआत इन्होंने की. राउंड टेबल का उद्देश्य भारतीय भाषा प्रकाशन की समस्याओं पर विचार करना है. समस्याओं पर तो हम बात करेंगे ही, बड़ी बड़ी संभावनाओं पर भी हमें बात करनी चाहिए. भारतीय भाषा के प्रकाशन के भविष्य की संभावना पर मैं बात करूंगा. मैं हिंदी में बात करूंगा और अंग्रेज़ी में इसका अनुवाद कर सकते हैं. मैं समझता हूँ इतनी हिंदी शायद हम लोग समझ लेंगे. जहाँ ज़रूरत पड़ेगी तो अदिति इसे कर देंगे. हमेशा इंडियन बुक इंडस्ट्री की बात होती है. इसमें बड़ा हिस्सा अंग्रेज़ी का होता है. उसमें भी एजुकेशनल पब्लिशिंग का ज़्यादा हिस्सा होता है. क्यों न हम इंडियन लैंग्वेज पब्लिशिंग की बात करें. यह जर्मन, फ्रेंच, चाइनीज़ सब पर भारी पड़ेगा, सबसे बड़ा हो जाएगा. इसकी कुछ दिक्कतें हो सकती हैं जिनके बारे में बात करना चाहता हूँ, लेकिन उसका सॉल्यूशन भी आज ही हमने देखा. भारतीय भाषाओं में सीधे अनुवाद की प्रक्रिया को बढ़ाना चाहिए. आज मुझे बहुत खुशी हुई, मतलब बहुत ही खुशी हुई जब एक तमिल की प्रकाशक तमिल में बोल रही थी और उसका अनुवाद कन्नन कर रहे थे. मतलब ये एक हमें सबको मिलकर ऐसा ही कुछ करना चाहिए कि हम सब अपनी भाषा में बात करें और उसका अनुवाद हो जहाँ जिसकी सुविधा हो. जहाँ अंग्रेज़ी की ज़रूरत हो अंग्रेज़ी में हो, जहाँ हिंदी से काम चलता हो या किसी और भारतीय भाषा से काम चलता हो. दक्षिण में शायद हिंदी अंग्रेज़ी दोनों के बिना काम चलेगा, तो उस तरह से हमें करना चाहिए. किसी भी दूसरी भाषा के माध्यम से अनुवाद से बचना चाहिए. सीधे अनुवाद करने में मुश्किलें हैं, बिल्कुल मैं मानता हूँ. इसके लिए हमें दुभाषीय बढ़ाने पड़ेंगे. इससे हम रोज़गार भी अपनी भाषाओं में दे सकेंगे. एक ये होता है ना कि भाई हिंदी क्यों पढ़ें, तमिल क्यों पढ़ें, मराठी क्यों पढ़ें. रोज़गार तो इसमें मिलेगा नहीं. रोज़गार तो आपको इंग्लिश से मिलेगा. तो इस तरह से हम करेंगे तो अपनी भाषाओं में रोज़गार पैदा करेंगे. और दोनों भाषाओं, जो अपनी सारी भारतीय भाषा हैं, इसमें लोग हमारे काम करने वाले हमें मिलेंगे, एडिटर्स मिलेंगे. किसी भी सभा संगोष्ठी में हम अपनी भाषा में ही अपनी बात कहें. इसका अनुवाद हो वहाँ पर समझी जा सकने वाली किसी भी भाषा में. यह कहीं तमिल हो सकती है, कहीं मराठी, कहीं हिंदी या कहीं अंग्रेज़ी. यह रास्ता कठिन लग सकता है, पर कन्नन सुंदरम जैसे लोग इस ओर कदम बढ़ा चुके हैं। हम इस दिशा में थोड़ा भी आगे बढ़ेंगे तो भारतीय भाषा प्रकाशन का मुकाबला दुनिया में कहीं नहीं होगा। एक थोड़ी सी एक कल्पना, एक कुछ फिगर्स आपके सामने रखता हूँ। भारत में पुस्तकों के बाज़ार को एक और नज़रिए से देखने की ज़रूरत है। हमारे यहाँ कम से कम 12 बड़ी भाषाएं हैं। उन सब 12 भाषाओं का अगर क्षेत्रफल के लिहाज से देखें, भूगोल के लिहाज से देखें तो भी, और जनसंख्या के लिहाज से देखें तो भी, दुनिया की जो बड़ी भाषाएं हैं, चीन को छोड़ दीजिए, तो सारी भाषाओं से उनका क्षेत्रफल और जनसंख्या भी ज़्यादा है। हर भाषा की, 12 भाषाओं की, मराठी ले लीजिए, तेलुगु ले लीजिए, मलयालम ले लीजिए, तमिल ले लीजिए, कन्नड़ ले लीजिए, बंगला ले लीजिए, तो तमाम हर भाषा, लगभग 12 भाषाएं, असमीज़, तो सब हर किसी भाषा से बड़ी भाषाएं। 12 बड़ी भाषाएं हैं जिनमें सैकड़ों हजारों वर्ष का पुराना विपुल साहित्य है। हर भाषा में कम से कम 3 तो बड़े प्रकाशक ऐसे होंगे ही जो अनुवाद प्रकाशित करते हैं और साल में 100 से ज़्यादा किताबें छापते हैं। तो इस तरह से अगर हम देखें तो कुल 36 प्रकाशक हो सकते हैं, और ये 36 प्रकाशक अगर हर भाषा से एक किताब भी छापें, साल में 12 किताबें, आधे भी हो सकती हैं, तो 432 किताबें हर साल अनुदित होंगी। 432, इतनी बड़ी संख्या में किताबें अनुवाद होंगी, तो कितने सारे अनुवादक हमारे यहाँ बनेंगे, कितना काम हम बढ़ेंगे, कर सकेंगे। एक किताब अगर 300 रुपये की भी हुई तो ये 1,29,600 रुपये की एक कॉपी होगी। और अगर मतलब 500 कॉपी भी अगर हम और हम इन किताबों की 500 कॉपी भी छापें तो ये कुल किताबें बनेंगी 6 करोड़ 48 लाख किताबों की संख्या। और 200 रुपये की भी अगर एक किताब हुई तो ये इसका अमाउंट बनेगा 12 अरब 96 करोड़ रुपए। 12 अरब 96 करोड़ रुपए की इंडस्ट्री हमारी अगर भारतीय भाषा प्रकाशन की हो जाती है तो मुझे नहीं लगता है कि दुनिया की किसी भी भाषा की इंडस्ट्री इतनी बड़ी होगी। यदि हम इतना व्यापार कर लें तो दुनिया की भाषाओं के सामने हमारी स्थिति कैसी होगी, इसकी कल्पना हम कर सकते हैं। एक दो बात और कहना चाहता हूँ। एक हमारे सब भारतीय भाषाओं के लिए एक शब्द प्रयोग किया जाता है, वर्नाकुलर लैंग्वेजेस। अब ये थोड़ा कम हुआ है, जैसे यहाँ ये ना कह के हम भारतीय भाषा कह रहे हैं, तो इस शब्द इसके लिए हमें हमेशा इसका विरोध करना चाहिए। कहीं भी ये शब्द का प्रयोग हो तो हमें कहना चाहिए हम भारतीय भाषाओं के लोग हैं। हमारी भाषाएं क्षेत्रीय भाषाएं नहीं हैं, हमारी भारतीय भाषाएं, ये हमारी मातृभाषाएं। लेखक, एक और इसके अलावा बात, लेखक पुरस्कृत होते हैं, अनुवादक पुरस्कृत होते हैं, प्रकाशक क्यों नहीं होते? इस बात पे कभी विचार हम करते नहीं हैं, जबकि हमारे बहुत सारे प्रकाशक ऐसे हैं जिन्होंने बड़े बड़े जोखिम उठा करके किताबों का प्रकाशन किया है, और इतने संघर्ष के साथ अभी बता रही थी कि क्या रेलवे में सफाई का काम करती थी, वहाँ से ये प्रकाशन की दुनिया में आई है। तो ऐसे बहुत प्रकाशक हैं और हर भाषा में हैं, तो उनको भी सम्मानित किया जाना चाहिए, और ये JBM उसका मंच हो सकता है। तो ये कुछ मेरे मन में हमेशा से, मतलब बरसों से ये बातें रहती थी, और मुझे कोई जगह अपनी भड़ास निकालने की नहीं मिल रही थी, तो मुझे आज मौका मिला तो मैंने ये सब बातें आपके सामने रखी। अगर हम लोग मिल कर के इस दिशा में कुछ कर सकें तो हमें करना चाहिए। धन्यवाद।
Thank you. I hope everything was accessible. Anyone who needs it.
It's okay.
Fine. Good. So, we'll do a quick, recap. Okay, thank you. Vishal ji, over to you. from knowing you from the initial days of Vishwakarma Prakashan and now becoming a major contributor to the Marathi publishing industry, it's been quite a journey. And your dedicated input year after year into book fairs, into sponsoring the literature festival, and of course doing a lot of translations yourself. Let's talk about that. And of course the rapid fire question applies to you too. One book that gave you good money, one book that didn't do well, and one book that you thought should have done well, but gave you a lot of mental satisfaction, spiritual satisfaction that it happened.
There's so many books that we've done good, and there's so many books that didn't do good. So one that did very much well was Maja Ayushyachi Pana, that is Leaves of Life of Meera Boronekar ma'am, who was a commissioner in Pune. So that was one of the best books that we've done, which we've sold more than 40,000 copies. So that is one which has done very well. Now,
how did you promote that book? Let's talk about that. What's working in Marathi promotions?
So what we did, it was her life's journey as a commissioner, right from her days when she started studying and then how she became a commissioner. And then what we did was we did a book tour, and we went to all districts of Maharashtra, and we toured with her, and she also cooperated, and she came to all the places of Maharashtra. And then we contacted all the UPSC, MPSC aspiring students, and we did a lot of advertisements and called them for a session. And that's how the book has picked up, and no looking back since then. It was in PILF that we had launched. So last so many years now, 7-8 years, every year 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 copies, they just go. So we've done it in 3 languages, that book: English, Marathi and Hindi. Hindi is doing a little slow because I think our reach is a little slow in Hindi, but in Marathi is doing well. Now she's come up with another book called Madam Commissioner with Pan, but Madam Commissioner Marathi is with us. She wanted to go with us, and that's also doing more than 4,000, 5,000 in just a year's time. We've sold out. So that's the best book that we've done. The second best book was Ajit Doval that we've done. A journalist from Pune has written about him, and that's the second book that we've sold around 10,000 plus copies. So that is also doing well. The book which I felt would do very well was Lakshmi, that we translated. A transgender was the first principal. We translated in Marathi, and we had a very good launch also. We called few people from that community, and we did that. I personally liked that book, and I was very happy that somebody who's come up as a principal over there, because Vishwakarma is an educational group. We have our schools and universities and colleges and all those things. But then it didn't do well. I think we couldn't cross 1,000 quantity. Yeah, we couldn't do that. So that is where I felt it should have done more better. We did a lot of promotions. There were a lot of press coverage also, but it didn't do well. Then there are few books that we did which were very good, but which we couldn't sell more. One was Katha that we did. The reason behind, when we did a research of it, what didn't go over there was the size of the book was too small, and the booksellers were not able to display it well. So there are so many things that, Then one more book which we felt would do very much well was on obesity mantra that we did, for kids. It was done by a doctor in English and Marathi both. Now, when I studied, that book and why it failed was the cover. When we spoke to teachers also and other people also, the cover was, not very apt for it. So these are the reasons where, we learn from these kind of mistakes, and that's how these were the things. Now, these were the rapid fire answers. And
so much learning through it,
yes.
that offline selling is still the best way to sell.
Best way, yeah.
Packaging is important.
Very important. Titles also very important. Many times when we do translations, we are carried away with the translators and editors who tell us this should be the right title of the book. And when it comes out, we did one book was called as Vade Wale Karma Yogi. You know, the book was fully a motivational, inspirational book, and people had to, you know, karma se related something, all those. And the designer did, you know, something different. And when people started coming on the stalls in exhibition and started viewing this, they liked the book, but then say, what is the title? So, you know, most of the times as a publisher, you know, we don't know, but then we get carried away with the translators and editors saying, no, this is the apt title for it. So these are the learnings. I think now we are very strict on, you know, finalizing the cover, size, title and all those things. Yeah. It should, you know, give a proper message what the book is all about, and the blurb. So these are the few things that we are working on now. So that's how it is. And yes, we are doing a lot of translations. They are working very well. The industry for Marathi is really good, but you should be able to pick the right title for translation, and then I think there's no looking back. We've been visiting most of the fairs, then literature festivals. We don't miss any places because we want our authors to be presented everywhere and their books to be displayed. At least what we can do is get the books displayed. The rest, I think, it's the journey of the book and the buyer. So that's how it is. That's the journey. So since last 11 years, I think we've published around 400 Marathi titles and around 380 English titles. And distribution is all across the globe for both, because now Marathi also has a Kindle edition. So Marathi books are also on Kindle, except the KDP. I think that's all is done. Thank you.
So less risk-taking appetite, as even Vasu was saying that Persepolis in Kannada was the risk, and then you said the smaller size of the book could not be placed on the bookshelf better. So we'll come with that to Govind, whose Deecee books doesn't need an introduction, and he's a third generation publisher, marketer, bookseller, and it's an amazing family history that has shaped a lot of reading landscape, publishing landscape of Kerala. Over to you, Govind. Of course, the questions remain the same for you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
And my dad is here, I don't know.
So we'll say once again then.
What was the birthday gift? No gift. Did he remember?
Oh yeah. He's going to remind me later in the night. I have to reply to everybody in the family group, so. So, you know, there was a lot in the planning for this particular year because it was the 50th year of the publication house. So, I mean, I think 2 sleepless years of planning for books to be planned for this year sort of came to fruition. So we had a good number of our, you know, Malayalam authors who had a book out this year. So just last week, we announced K.R. Mira's next novel. So the pre-booking of that is underway. Benjamin has a new novel coming out. Over in September, when we had the event for our 50th anniversary celebration, we had a number of books that were launched. E. Santosh Kumar, who had his new novel, Tapomaida Echin, that's done wonderfully well. S. Harish, who wrote Mustache, just had a novel out in December. Early December was the launch. We are at 8,000 copies thus far. So it's been a year of great books. I think the planning for that. You know, particularly proud that we planned for a collection of short stories across some of Malayalam authors who have not published in any other magazines or anything. We've, you know, directly went to them to source the books. Most of them have done so well. They're all in their 3rd or 4th edition. There was one particular book called Oda by Jinsha Genga that has done, I think, 6 editions, and it's a short story collection. So it's been a year of so many great books. And I think Tapomede Achin was one book that I think got us good sleep. Now, I can't miss out on saying that there was that book called Ramkar of Anandi, which took off like nothing 4 years after being published. And I think we are at 3.3 lakh copies in sale. So, I mean, okay, so for the book that bought us all the money, I think that was the book. Amongst the books that came out, I think if you have to ask me which one has not done as much as I hoped, it would be Mr. Manoj Kuru's new novel. Manoj just has his book out in English. It's called The Day the Earth Bloomed. It's his prior book. It was a Malayalam book that was translated, and he just had a new novel. I think the numbers I thought would have been much more compared to what it was, but it's still doing okay. It's doing well, but I had hoped the numbers would have been much higher. But overall, I think it was a great year for us. I think 2 years or 3 years of planning for that 50th anniversary sort of came to fruition. So we're happy that much of what we had executed fell into place and happened. So
I don't know any other literature festival in the world on a beach. So kudos to you for that. As we learned from the Marathi,
but what is being told inside the book is completely contrary to it. Because when you see, any woman on the street can be catcalled and said, "We are your dupatta properly." And that precisely what women are being called out, we wanted that as the title of the book. I find men, very interestingly, conservative men, who look at the title and think, okay, my God, it says that women should wear dupatta. I should buy this book. And happily, if they don't go inside the index, I'm very pleased, because the index completely is about something else. It says, it talks about political awareness of women. It talks about financial independence of women. So all that is inside the book. So if they don't care to read what is inside the book, they'll be happily gifting the book to the women in their family, and I am happy. It also happens at times. So that's one. And it has been our biggest seller. We have sold more than 10,000 copies of that book. So someone who's just 3 years into publishing, I think it is a big thing.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. So that's one. And there was another book which I personally wanted it to sell more, but it didn't do quite well, was a book called Uchakattam. Uchakattam, literally if you translate it to English, it's orgasm. And that book is about female orgasm. The entire book is structured on orgasm. How the man thinks, through his body about orgasm, and how a woman thinks through her mind, how it applies to her brain, how two different individuals take, a same process with two different individuals takes completely opposite meaning. So it was written by a psychologist who works with women. So I thought it would be a big seller, but then it didn't go well. Probably, I think, as I take a point from him, because when he says, you take a book through the author to the public, I think that is one thing which I had failed to do. I'm learning from him. Probably I should take it across to women, probably a podcast or something with reading from the book, chapters from it being
brilliant.
read, push the book through that channel.
Yes.
Yeah,
With
so I think
with the subtitles.
Yes, with the
We'll have to follow it. Yes.
Yeah, and I have sold Malayalam rights for that book, and I think next year they're going to bring it. The Tamil Nadu state government has given a grant for that book. And to imagine a government giving a grant for a book titled Orgasm is really something, so I'm happy that
That's
at
a
least
utopia
that way.
the rest of India is dreaming about.
At least we are writing about it. At least we are thinking about female orgasm these days, and we are out here openly talking about it. It really makes a big thing to talk about it. And one book that I would be really happy that I really did it, that I had a good sleep over, was Peiratravargalin Kural, Voice of the Nameless, which we did this December. It is a collection of articles written by women without mentioning their names. I just opened a Google Drive folder last year and put a post on social media saying that you want to write anything without mentioning your name about your personal experiences, what should it be? And I got 47 articles in the folder, and 45 of it were from women and 2 from queer people. And from all the 47, more than 70-80% was about child sexual abuse, especially by men within the family. We all talk so great about the Indian family structure, the great Indian family structure, but they've all been, oppressors some way or the other, choosing their victims very carefully. I shouldn't say victims, choosing the survivors very carefully. And the survivors live to say the tale about it, and they are even so scared to tell it in their own names. So that really means something to me. Like, I felt so happy when someone, I had a lot of women come into the stall at the Chennai Book Fair, walk up and then say in hushed tones, I wrote an article for the book. And I was happy to hand them over a copy because, that copy belongs to them. And giving those kind of women a voice a place where they can register what they went through, building some kind of affinity with each other, saying that you're not alone. I've also gone through the same run, but then I have survived, and I'm so glad that 47 of us survived to tell this tale out in the open. So that book should have done well. It came out in December, but what I'm planning is it should go to other languages too. I don't see that it's just an extension of Me Too. It means much more to me, because it's not just youngsters writing in Instagram. You have a 60-year-old woman talking about it. You have a trans woman talking about it. You also have a 20-year-old girl saying how she was abused in a bus and why she was pushed from a government bus to travel in a college bus. So there are so many things involved. And when a lot of articles for that came, handwritten pages, photographed, and posted in the folder. That one really, I had sleepless nights for the past 2 months or so trying to edit the book, because we do it on our own. We don't have professional editors doing that work. Myself and Validasan, my partner, we both do the editing work. And so it was really very traumatic for me to go over all those 47 stories again and again. I reread it thrice. I edited it, I reread it thrice for proofreading and all that. So it was really very traumatizing, because I went through all those 47 lives, and I'm happy they had the trust in me to tell their stories which they otherwise wouldn't tell others. So once it was published, I think I had it completely out of my system, and I was really glad I did it, because as a woman, I had listened to all these 47 stories. So that gave me really good sleep.
That's beautiful. Nivedita ji, I'd like to have your views on the GST system. Now that you have because we are wearing tinted glasses. Sometimes we feel like that, but you're just fresh into it, viewing it with a fresh sight.
No, I'm sorry, I can't answer to this, because my partner will be the best person to answer, because he takes care of all the finances. I am the face of it, and he's the base of it.
Would you like to add to it, sir? Would you like to add to the conversation?
About the GST? No, he doesn't.
Okay, fine. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Much.
From Nivedita ji, we go to Shri Harsha Bhatkal ji. The popular Prakash group turned 100 in 2024. I think this is a huge round of applause. That's a commitment of a family. Shri Ganesh Bhatkal ji found the organization, and the rest of the story we'll get it straight from Harsha ji.
Thank you, Aditi. As Aditi said, Popular is in its 100th year this year, and we are really proud of that. To be honest, I have very little to do with it. As she said, it was started by my grandfather, continued by my uncle and father, and now for the last 35 years, I've been sort of carrying on their work. I'll take a more sort of broader approach the way Ashok ji did in terms of Indian language publishing. I think to begin with, when we say that, when we have a roundtable for Indian language publishing, I think it starts in my mind that it means that there is a problem. Because we are a country which has our own languages, and in most other fields of communication, be it cinema, theater, music, these issues don't arise. You don't have to tell somebody that Hindi films are big, or Tamil films are big, or Telugu films are big. So why is it that we need to have sort of some kind of special conversation? The moment we have that, it means that our people are not reading adequately in their own language, although other forms of communication, they are receiving pretty well. So as publishers, we need to introspect about what we could do better to reach out to them, and imbibe the same thing when it comes to reading habits that they have in so many other spheres of their lives. To talk of Marathi in particular, it's a state with, I think it's about 85 million people, over 100 million people worldwide speak the language, and yet when we think of print runs and successful books, as Aditi said, if a book sells 20, 30, 40,000 copies, we are over the moon. So in terms of the size of the business, there is something that we could and should do to expand this. One of the big areas which I see moving forward could be in terms of translations, which today are extremely challenging, because to do a translation takes typically even a year, maybe more, the quality of the translation at the end of the day is criticized by too many people, and there are so many issues pertaining to it. At the same time, as Ashokji, did some math, with so many Indian languages, we could well create an ecosystem that can work. And I do feel, and I know it's a controversial thing, I do feel that AI could be the driver. We are at the very early stages of AI, but moving forward, could it be that it provides the base for us to be able to translate many more books than we are doing currently? I also feel in Marathi, as he gave examples of attending literary fairs, what we've tried to do at Popular Prakashan is now of late to try and work with mass media in a bigger way. Over the last 1 year, we've partnered with Maharashtra Times, which is a leading Marathi newspaper, and every week they've carried a big article on one of our books or a genre that we have pioneered, and that's given us a lot of publicity. This year, we are running a thing called, like, you nominate your 5 best books that you've read, and we are getting very senior writers and people with a public profile to write their 5 books, and then we are getting people to nominate their 5 books, and we are getting hundreds and hundreds of nominations every week. So we're trying to create an ecosystem of people whom we can communicate with and engage on an ongoing basis, to try and use technology later to create maybe WhatsApp groups or something. But unless we find out ways of reaching the market, because distribution is a huge challenge for all publishers, whether it's our English list or our Marathi list, getting books into bookstores, and more importantly now getting people to get into bookstores is a challenge. So we, it would be good for all of us to interact and find out ways of, what has worked for each one of us, so that we can exchange ideas and grow the language market that we specialize in. In terms of success, failure of books, I mean, every publisher has had, enough of both. I think for us, what has been really something I'm grateful for is the backlist that we've generated over 100 years. Today, our backlist is about 1,000 titles, which we really can reprint every year, year after year. And that's, I think, largely because, you've talked of risk-taking. And I think here my father, who championed our Marathi language list about 70 years ago, has always taken risks. That whether it was in poetry, whether it was in short stories, the theater genre, it's always been trying to do new stuff. And somehow that his judgment has worked right, and therefore we are proud to have this legacy of backlist. So most of our sort of sales do come from backlist, but if I were to mention 1 or 2 successful titles, I would say Natasamrat, which is one of the most popular plays written by Viva Shirvadkar, who's a Jnanpith Award winner. And that continues to sell, year after year. It's prescribed as texts in numerous colleges every year, and that is one of them. Hindu by Bhalchandra Nemade, again our author, who is the other Jnanpith and the only living Jnanpith Award winner in Marathi. That also is like a big seller. His Kosla is also a big seller. So some of these landmark books do sell. In terms of satisfaction, I mean, here I'm not speaking for myself because I've not been the editor and in that sense the soul of the publishing program. But there's a book we did called 72 Mail by Ashok Bhatkal, and that was really a journal and his diary, and which my father interacted with the author's father for his book, but then found his journal, developed it into a book, and now that book has got recognition. A movie has been made on it, and I think that gave my father a lot of satisfaction. Books that didn't do well, the list is too long to talk about because
but one in which you were very invested and you thought maybe this...
So I would say, Pushi Rege is a very well-known writer in Marathi, and Pushkal is a book of his which should have done well, which did not. But as I said, I mean, Pushi Rege is considered a landmark writer, but is not a best-selling writer, let me put it that way. So anyone who follows Marathi knows of his importance, and we've continued to publish. We recently published the complete works of Pushirege as well. But that's our commitment to publishing what we believe is great literature, and maybe one day people will also believe in that and take it forward. But I said the core is, there is huge potential which we as publishers, I think, can exploit better, so that, what other media has done with regional languages. I mean, in Hindi, with Hindi films or Tamil films or Telugu, you don't even call them regional language films, right? You just call them mainstream cinema. Yes. So why can't that happen for books? And let's hope it does.
Thank you so much. That was very insightful. Over to Kannan sir. Any part of the year you can congratulate him, because either it would be a Chevalier, or it would be completing 30 years of his publishing house, or one of the books will be winning some award in some part of the world. Over to you, Kannan sir.
So those
You wanted to, yes.
3 books.
3 books. And of course, Tamil Nadu State Textbook Board, the way they have improvised the way for printing, publishing and reading. We'd love to hear that story too.
Yeah. So, I first came when the first year JBM happened, and I could very freely talk here whatever I want, because I was the only Tamil publisher most of the years. Now there are 2 formidable people sitting next to me. I have to be careful, I have to be right, and I would say accurately what I mean. Otherwise I'll get, error checked here right now. So I'll start the 3 books. This is the book which we published in Tamil in Chennai Book Fair 1 month ago. It did quite well. It's probably the first graphic novel in Tamil. We have adapted a modern classic novel into a graphic novel with Perumal Murugan and Appupan doing the script and the drawings. And it sold quite well in Tamil. It is published by Simon Schuster in English now. And we have also managed to sell rights for few other Indian languages. So, even financially, this is working well for us. And I could create and I could see there is some kind of excitement when I pitched it in Frankfurt last October. So probably our aim here was, can we take a modern classic novel and also a very important sport for Tamils, the story of that sport, around that sport to other Indian languages, and probably can we take it internationally. I am quite confident that, it is happening, and probably it will also happen. So this is a good book for us this year. And another book we did was that, this is, the story of that book started nearly 20 years ago. Just two taluks of Kanyakumari district have a subculture called Nanjal Nadu. A specific community, specific language, specific food culture, and specific ways of religious worship within the setup of Hinduism. And so we asked a writer who's from that region, can you write a book about the food culture of this area, for which it was well known. They are famous cooks, and the food was very famous. It took 20 years. He was not satisfied. He did a 1 draft, then he did more drafts, and he added more to it. Then it gave it to his relatives and friends. They gave more suggestions. It grew and grew and grew. Now it's a really thick volume of 600 plus pages, and very meticulously it's not a cookbook. It's not, you can't start by cooking with the book, but it's more of a food, history, and some of earlier ways of making a food which no longer exist. Several earlier kind of food which we don't eat anymore today, how they were cooked, who were the women in the family who cooked them, and how did that work? Which food would you make for a marriage? Which food would you make for a death ceremony? Which food you make when a child is born? And for every instance, there was separate kind of food which will be made only for one occasion. And we don't know this history at all, that, it's all. We might easily go to a hotel and order that food, but earlier on it had a different connotation, different history. So he has recorded all these histories. At some places he says, this taste was so amazing, but the last time I ate it was 55 years ago. So he has this clear memory of all those years, even the taste of those years. So I think I am very happy about this book because for one reason it has got created a lot of excitement. It is doing quite well, but it can also, be the first of many such books about different areas of Tamil Nadu which have their own cuisine, their own culture. And again, when I talk about food, which food was made for this temple festival as different from the other temple festival in the same village. So all these differences, all these nuances, all these cultural aspects, if you can make it for many other communities in Tamil Nadu, we will have such a rich collection of, cuisine which is quite unimaginable. And so that book was something that I was very happy that we published after, nearly 20 years of reminding the writer, working with him, encouraging him gently, and finally it all came through.
20 years.
20
That's
years,
why
20 years, 20 years.
That's why Indian publishing is a story of persistence.
So, and the third book I was a little disappointed about was a translation. It was Aruna Roy's book on RTA story, which we did. It's a big book, not difficult, easy to translate, not easy to edit. It took a lot of work. And Tamil Nadu is, people are, well educated and they are quite in activist mode that they use RTA a lot. Despite all that, I felt the book was not, well received. And that was a bit of a disappointment. But, we are still thinking of more ways how can we take the book to the readers. And regarding Tamil Nadu government's program, it is definitely the first program of that sort in India. About 5 years ago, the first part of it was launched for taking Tamil books to English by offering some kind of a buyback scheme to the Indian English publishers. Since then, with this new government which took over 4 years ago, it has expanded further to all the Indian languages and also to international languages to get a grant to publish any book that they might want to select from Tamil. So textbook cooperation, that scheme I think is very important. It is probably the one unique scheme in India. I hope that many other states will take up this model, and not only that, even private foundations can come into the picture, because every other country in the world, every other major language in the world has a literary body to promote their literature in international spaces and also a grant to back it up, except for India. And this is a small consolation now that one language in India has it, but this is not all enough, and we have to, take this further. And again, the International Book Fair again is a very, very important step. The government is investing a lot of money into the project. They are inviting publishers from all over the world to come to Chennai and meet publishers. I think for a new generation of publishers starting now, this is a great opportunity. Without having to invest, without having to make the effort to go to the international fair, which is not easy in terms of money or in terms of arrangement, they get to meet publishers from across the world, from Africa, from South America, from Chile. One publisher came this year, and from other Asian countries, from Europe, from Americas. So they all fly up. This year I think they brought in 60 or 70 nations to Chennai and work with them, buy their books, understand if they have any grant programs to support that, apply for those grants, get some money, try to sell your book. And learning about all this as you do the work. I mean, there's no other way to learn this. Nobody's going to take a class for you. So as you have these meetings, you understand how you do this, and next year you go back and do it better, and the next year you go back and do it better. So that's the only way it can be done, and I think that's happening. And again, this is a very, very important step. We may have, when a government runs a program, we all will have many criticisms about it. That apart, it's a major initiative, and I hope that again, many state governments take it up to bring international publishing to their own languages and take their languages to international languages.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We'll come to Jayji in a while, Prakash Pandey ji. We'll come to Jeeva first. A writer first and a publisher.
Yes.
And we'd love to know the Yavaram publisher's story.
I'm happy that you tell Yavaram. Yavaram means colloquially business. That is the one I didn't catch that yet. It's a initially told that.
I didn't pronounce it well.
Yavarum. Yavarum means everyone. Everyone.
Yavarum.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a Kanin Pungundanar's a Sangam age poet's word. Yavarum Keli, everyone is kin.
Yeah.
So I took from that. My writing career is a bit notorious. I was a writer in a political party. It's a purely ideologically, the guys you won't like that. If I told that. But the book guided me to stay away from the politics, and I kept myself away from all those dark side. Yes, I would say, now I want to say that book name, it's a P. Sainath's book, Everybody Loves a Good Rot, that gave me the right way to become a literary person, and I am very grateful to having myself in this roundtable, and beside with Kannan, it is a very proud moment. I read a couple of magazines, College Odo and Oirmai, the both magazines are the guiding light which brought me into this field. So when I found literature is my career, I started a literary forum with my like-minded friends in 2012. Every one of us shared 500 rupees to conduct a regular literary meets, and we started yavarum.com as that is the name, yavarum.com as a literary magazine. And after that, some good friend shows that if you want to earn more money, you must start business, publishing business. I thought that it is true, and my first book went 1,000 copies in 14 days. Oh, a miracle! Oh, I'm going to be the hardcore businessman. But the second book reveals the truth. This is not. And then the journey. Initially, you use the phrase that the publishers have a short packet. I have no packet. No library orders. I'm a kind of an activist. I always notorious person in the field. Even Kannan also, why are you taking so much photos and posting in FB? Like that, I used to criticize the policies in the magazines. I keep on doing that kind of business. But as a writer, I love to write short stories. So far, I wrote 4 short story collections, and only 3 of them published. If you ask that the question that the books which are not performed is my books, because I won't take about. The 4th collection. A 4th collection I gave to the publisher, another publisher. That may be work out. Okay.
So what is the motive of your writing? What inspires you, and what are your stories about?
I'm writing what kind of stories? I cannot describe that. I love to be. Myself. I claim that I am writing a postmodern writing.
Right.
Mostly, I illustrate stories to the paintings which I love. I think this is a new genre, because I am very much crazed to the paintings and artworks. I have been working for graphic novels. From 2016, I am working in a graphic novel. Tamil, it's a very defined, the art form is defined by our illustrator, a painter. We are also working in a world classic novel. So this kind of passion to the art driven me to this level. So far I published, recently we published 7 books the theories on graphic novel, which is performing well at least.
Okay.
This year only I published non-fictions. So far I published fictions only.
Okay.
Now only the whole I got many of the publishers tell that non-fictions are performing
Much better.
so much better than the fictions. Even it takes this much year to get the advices from these. So far I published 400 titles, of which 75 75 titles are from new authors.
Okay.
So that is the place I am claiming that I am the face of new age. So during 2016, all the EU Pushkar finalists are published by our publishers, and I am one of them. So that is the point that I thought that I am a serious publisher. So till date, that passion is driving me. From this year only, I started earning some money since I published some non-fictions. See, to be honest, I have a plan to wind up the business during March. My good friend Gayatri and Karthik knows that. But the ecosystem, I want to tell about Tamil industry. Lot of publishers helping together. Even like Kannan gave me the reference.
Beautiful.
Gayatri gave me a personal help. She knows that my personal issues. Like one more thing I have to tell you is Karthik is a third generation publisher. He gave his novel to publish me. So these are the driving forces. Some authors gave back the royalties to me.
Okay.
So this is the right time. You just keep it with you. And many of iconic writers started seeing my working style, and they started giving the titles. So I'm coming to the three questions. The title, which is performing very good, is Non-Gam Swer. This is the only one non-fiction I brought earlier. The Non-Gam Swer means everyone. The fourth wall. The fourth wall is the golden rule in stage, theater stage. But this non-fiction book is basically portrays the characters who are living in the North Chennai. North Chennai means, if you people seeing Tamil cinema, all the gundas, rowdies from North Chennai, all the mafias, dons, and drug dealers, everyone from North Chennai. But that is a very, that thing is should be condemned. North Chennai is the actual original Chennai, which is developed by the British government, which is developed during the British rule. The Non-Gam Swer speaks about the real characters. They are the marginal men, they are body men, the post-mortem assistants, the calendar artists, aspirants for cinemas and theatre, lot of marginal men, importantly sanitary workers. They are, in my reading, there is no any works that much beautifully depicts the lovable portions of the and beautiful portions of their life. So I would say Non-Gam Swer is the very first title I would say as a I'm proud to publish that title. It's fortunately the author is a actor now, film actor now. Fortunately, I published the book before he get famous. That's why it's the only bestseller I am having. Bhakyam Shankar. he's almost look like my Anna. He is the voice which is raised from the inner side.
Right.
So he went jail. He went to prison to write stories about the prisoner. The 30 episodes, almost 60 characters. You won't believe that these characters we daily come across to these men, how lovely they are. So I would say Nagamswara is a performing title. And I would say many titles are sleeping, as I said earlier, even my titles. But I'm little worried that my friend gave me that title. It's a beautiful novel. He's a third generation publisher. He would have sold that much if he published himself. Sorry, you didn't. Fortunately, you didn't met Vasudhendra earlier. It's a beautiful novel which portrays the conspiracies in the COVID period. I still believe that we have one more round to publicize, and the lot of learnings from this event, I would make it right. And the title, I still the third one is third. What is the third question?
You thought it should do as well, but
that
couldn't.
should do well. That's the very important author I should tell. His name is Naveen, who is from Malaysia. He is a Tamil Malaysian writer. That novel is banned in Malaysia. Normally, the literature. After that, he published 2 novels which cannot be sold in Malaysia. I am only selling here. Still, for every article and every story he writes in e-magazine or even in Tamil Nadu, he is reporting to the authorities, and he is stating that it is not against the community, it is not against the standards of, and it is not disgracing the. So that is a very very important role that I should take the author to next level, because only after even Kannan sir helped me a lot to give a proper media. Perumal Murugan writes about the ban, but still, since he is not a Tamil author, he had to bring to the world audience. Hope this dice may help to elevate the author's future works. But the novel is excellent one. The novel is an excellent mystic novel. Novel named Pechi, which is a coming of age novel of a lady who sells liquor, which dates between the pre-independence to current age. And he has also written two more novels. One is a Dark Side Mafia, which is a Mafia Side, which is headed by a transgender. That is a very interesting novel. And the third one is the minority Tamil people who oppressing one more minority, from Nepalese in their own land. He's still doing the same job for why he banned. So, but he is not stop writing. He keeps on working. He keeps on he keeps on fighting with the authorities. So I should work more for him. Thank you.
So a lot of stories of perseverance, quirkiness, And I think publishing is as much a professional business as it is a personal. So your quirkiness, your sense of humor that we could feel in last 15 odd minutes, I think a lot of your stories carry that. Congratulations. Very heartwarming to know your list. And now, if there were a world record for a person who reviews a book every day, for a national channel, not for his own adventure, but for a national channel, we have Prakash Pandey ji. Huge round of applause for him. This was a vacant space, absolutely vacant space for a lot of us, especially in Hindi and English. And he, with Sahitya Tak, the internet channel that we have, which has, I would credit Sahitya Tak to be one of the founding ideas that turned into Sahitya Aaj Tak, the literature festival. Jay ji, the journey, कहाँ से शुरू और अब कहाँ?
थैंक यू वेरी मच अदिति जी. सबसे पहले तो मैं आश्चर्यचकित हुआ इतने सारे बड़े प्रकाशकों के बीच में जिनकी अपनी यात्रा किताबों को लेकर बहुत इंस्पायरिंग है. जो लोग किताबों की दुनिया में काम करते हैं, किताबें पढ़ते हैं, मुझे लगता है कि सबसे पहले आप लोगों पर काम होना चाहिए. जनरेशन टू जनरेशन किस तरह से प्रकाशन उद्योग आगे बढ़ रहा है और किस तरह से चुनौतियां हैं. जैसे 1000 टाइटल अगर किसी प्रकाशन समूह के पास है और लगातार उन्हें अपनी किताबों को पुनर्प्रकाशित करना है तो किस तरह की चुनौतियां हैं. मैं जब इंडियन लैंग्वेज पब्लिशर्स राउंड टेबल के लिए जब मेरा नाम आया तो मनीषा चौधरी जी यहाँ पे हैं. मैं बड़ा आश्चर्यचकित हुआ कि मेरा नाम पब्लिशर्स के साथ क्यों है. ये एक अलग बात है कि मैं 10 साल उस मैगज़ीन को लीड कर रहा था जो मलयालम मनोरमा को जब हमने एक तरह से मोस्ट रीडेबल मैगज़ीन से रिप्लेस किया था सरस सलील को, तो मैं उस मैगज़ीन को लीड कर रहा था. हिंदी की कोई मैगज़ीन किसी लैंग्वेज की मैगज़ीन को, भारतीय भाषा की दूसरी मैगज़ीन को नंबर 1 जब बनी थी तो वो केवल नंबर गेम नहीं था. अभी भी जो बात मैंने सुनी वो केवल नंबर्स की बात नहीं है, बिज़नेस की बात नहीं है. मेरी बात जहाँ तक है किताबों को पढ़ने की, कल मुझे एक मैसेज आया, मैं 1100 किताबें हो चुकी हैं मेरी लगातार पढ़ने की, अनब्रेकेबल है, कभी भी ब्रेक नहीं हुआ. मैं यहाँ आया हूँ तो मैं उस पर किताब को पढ़ के आया हूँ बोल के, तो वो डेली 4 बजे एक शो जाता है. सिर्फ वो उसी समय ब्रेक होता है जब मैं साहित्य आज तक कर रहा होता हूँ, और वो इसलिए ब्रेक होता है क्योंकि उस समय लाइव टेलीकास्ट 24 जब हमारे प्रोग्राम का रात के 10 बजे जाता है और मेरा फिक्स टाइम है 4 बजे. तो चूँकि लाइव जा रहा होता है तो हम अपने प्रोग्राम को ब्रेक नहीं करना चाहते. साहित्य आज तक भी मेरी ही एंटिटी है, तो हम उस समय केवल 3 दिन वो ब्रेक होता है. तो साल में अगर 3 इवेंट हम करते हैं तो 9 दिन छोड़ के बाकी सारे दिन ही किताब की बात मैं कर रहा होता हूँ. या तो लेखक से बात कर रहा होता हूँ उनकी किताब पर या उनकी लाइफ प्रोफाइल पे. शुरू कैसे हुआ, इसकी वजह ये थी कि जब कोविड के दौरान बहुत परेशानी का दौर था, किसी को नहीं पता था कि कल हम जिंदा रहेंगे कि नहीं रहेंगे, हमारे पड़ोसी जिंदा होंगे कि नहीं होंगे. उस दौरान एकमात्र लोगों के पास ऑप्शन था कि वो टेलीविज़न शोज़ देख रहे थे, लेकिन वो भी रिपीटेटिव हो गया था चूँकि वो लॉकडाउन का दौर था और 24 घंटे आप टीवी नहीं देख सकते, ओटीटी नहीं देख सकते. तो किताबों का एक माध्यम था, बचा था, जो लग रहा था कि किताबें पहुंचाई जा रही हैं. गवर्नमेंट ने जब सेकेंड टाइम 21 दिन लॉकडाउन के बाद किताबों को ओपन किया कि किताबें जा सकती हैं. तो किताबें अगर पहुँचें तो किताबों की बात रीडर तक कैसे पहुँचे, उसके लिए हमने ये प्रोग्राम शुरू किया. आज तक इंडिया टुडे ग्रुप को मैं इस बात की क्रेडिट दूंगा कि उन्होंने न्यूज़ चैनल होते हुए भी अपने प्लेस में एक स्टूडियो हमको प्रोवाइड किया और हमें इस बात की इजाज़त दी कि हम किताबों पर बात कर सकें, राइटर पे बात कर सकें और किताबों के बारे में बता सकें. तो पहले हमारी कोशिश थी कि किताबों के बारे में लोग जानें. अगर डिजिटल माध्यम है, पूरी दुनिया में पहुंच रहा है, अगर लोगों को मालूम हो कि ये किताब है तो वो किताब खरीद सकते हैं. हमने हिंदी में शुरू किया इसको और आश्चर्य की बात ये कि भारतीय भाषाओं से तो नहीं आती हैं, हमको समझ भी नहीं आती है किताब, लेकिन अगर मेरे पास किताब आए तो मैं उसको इतना ज़रूर बताने की कोशिश करूँगा कि तमिल में, तेलुगु में, मलयालम में, कन्नड़ में, क्योंकि जो प्रिंट लाइन होती है वहाँ पे आप अंग्रेज़ी में लिखते हो कॉपीराइट के चलते, तो वहाँ से मैं पढ़ के ये बता सकता हूँ कि ये किताब तमिल में आई है या मलयालम में आई है या तेलुगु में आई है या कन्नड़ में आई है। उर्दू की किताबें हमारे पास पहुंची हैं, मुझे नहीं आती, लेकिन मैंने बताया है। संस्कृत की किताबें आती हैं जिनके बारे में हम कहते हैं। तो पहले तो आप लोगों से मैं सभी भारतीय भाषाओं के जो प्रकाशक हैं, जो हिंदी या अंग्रेज़ी में नहीं प्रकाशित कर रहे हैं, मैं चाहूँगा कि अगर आपको लगता है कि हमारे माध्यम से आपकी किताब सिर्फ एक पाठक तक भी अतिरिक्त पहुँचती है, एक्स्ट्रा, तो मैं आप मुझे किताबें भेज सकते हैं। मुझे लगता है कि आपको पैसे का नुकसान नहीं होगा, वो निश्चित रूप से उतना असर होगा। तो शुरुआत हमने इस तरह से की थी। अंग्रेज़ी के लेखकों ने और अंग्रेज़ी की प्रकाशन उद्योग ने इसको बहुत हाथों हाथ लिया। मैं हिंदी में एकदम विशुद्ध हिंदी में बात करता हूँ, इसको लेके कोई आग्रह नहीं है, लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि जो अंग्रेज़ी का लेखक हिंदी में बोल सकता है उसे ज़रूर हिंदी में बोलना चाहिए। और मेरा दुर्भाग्य है मैं कि दूसरी भारतीय भाषाओं को नहीं पढ़ पाया हूँ, लेकिन अगर आप में से कोई मेरा गुरु बनने की कोशिश करना चाहे या मुझे सिखाना चाहे, मैं सहर्ष पढ़ने की कोशिश करूँगा। तो भारतीय भाषाओं में इतना बहनापा होना चाहिए, हमारा एक दूसरे के प्रति किसी भी तरह का विरोध नहीं होना चाहिए। मैं हिंदी की इसलिए नहीं हिंदी की बात कर रहा हूँ कि मैं हिंदी को कोई गौरव बोध से भरना चाहता हूँ, मैं इसलिए क्योंकि वही भाषा मुझे अच्छे तरह से आती है, और जो भाषा मुझे अच्छी तरह से नहीं आती उसे मुझे नहीं बोलना चाहिए। तो मैं अंग्रेज़ी की किताबों के बारे में बोलता हूँ, अंग्रेज़ी के लेखकों से हिंदी में बात करता हूँ, और मुझे ये बताने में एक खुशी भी मिलती है कि अंग्रेज़ी का बड़े से बड़ा लेखक मुझसे हिंदी में बात करता है। आनंद नीलकंठन ने इसी JLF में पिछले साल जब मिले, उन्होंने मेरा हाथ पकड़ा और बोला, सर मेरी किताब पर कुछ कर दो, ये नई किताब आई है। मुझे लगता है कि अगर हम किताबों को, जो सबसे बड़ी आप लोगों की भी बात सुन के, और जब मैं मैगज़ीन में काम कर रहा था दिल्ली प्रेस में, पब्लिशिंग एडिटर था वहाँ मैं 10 साल, जो सबसे बड़ी चुनौती थी वो थी किताबों की उपलब्धता नहीं है। मतलब हर जगह, मैं अभी जैसे सिगरेट पीना हो, मैं नहीं पीता हूँ, लेकिन अगर आपको सिगरेट खरीदना हो या पान खाना हो या कोई दूसरा नशा, कोल्ड ड्रिंक खरीदनी हो, तो वो आपको पान की दुकान पर भी मिल जाएगा। प्रकाशन उद्योग के सामने सबसे बड़ी चुनौती है कि हमारी किताबें कैसे पहुँचें, कैसे मिलें हर जगह। अगर हमें किताबें मिल पा रही हों, जैसे स्टॉल्स बंद हो रहे हैं, क्यों बंद हो रहे हैं, इसको सबको मिल के सोचना चाहिए। असम में एक प्रयोग हुआ था, कुला सैकिया जी ने बात किया था मुझे, असम साहित्य सभा ने वहाँ स्ट्रीट पे दुकानों को खोला है। तो मैडम आपसे माइक मांग रहे हैं, तो मुझे ये लगता है कि हमें इस बात का प्रयास करना चाहिए कि किताबें पाठकों तक कैसे उपलब्ध हों। वो देखेंगे किताबें तो शायद खरीदेंगे। हमें पूरा डिजिटल फोरम में, हालांकि मैं डिजिटल की रोटी खाता हूँ, लेकिन फिर भी मैं कह रहा हूँ हमें डिजिटल फोरम पे बैंक नहीं करना चाहिए। किताबों को छू के जो अनुभव होता है किसी भी रीडर का, वो कोई भी डिजिटल फोरम उसको नहीं बता सकता है। आप लोग सभी मिलके इस बात का प्रयास करिए। हमारे फ्रंट से जो भी मैं कर सकता हूं, जब तक मैं इंडिया टुडे ग्रुप के साथ हूं, जब तक नौकरी कर रहा हूं, मैं आपकी किताबें पढ़ने के लिए रोज़ रात में 2 बजे रात तक पढ़ता हूं। सो मेरी आंखें जलती रहती हैं। सुबह जगता हूं तो रोज़ 7 बजे सुबह जब उठता हूं तो केवल 4 या 5 घंटे की नींद लेता हूं, कभी ब्रेक नहीं करता। आज तक सिंगल ब्रेक नहीं है। मैं, आप चेक कर सकते हो जाके साहित्य तक की साइट पे। सिर्फ इसलिए कि आपकी किताबें लोगों तक पहुंच सकें, पाठक ये जान सकें कि कौन सी किताबें आ रही हैं और उन किताबों में क्या है, ये मैं बताने की कोशिश करता हूं। और मैं अदिति जी से ये सवाल, चूँकि ये राउंड टेबल पर बात ख़त्म हो, सभी से उन्होंने 3 सवाल पूछा था। मैं इनसे भी जानना चाहूँगा कि बाड़ी प्रकाशन के सामने वो 3 जो इन्होंने पॉइंटर सभी आप सभी से जाने, उनके बारे में भी ये बताएं, क्योंकि इनसे चूँकि ये मॉडरेट कर रही हैं तो शायद स्केप कर जाएं, तो स्केप नहीं होना है। आप बताइए वो सारे अनुभव जो आपने सभी से जाने हैं अभी 8 लोगों से।
धन्यवाद जय जी। Before we open the platform for all of you, 3 किताबें, एक किताब जिसने बहुत अच्छी नींद दी वो थी परसेपोलिस हिंदी और वो बिल्कुल अच्छी नहीं चली. So I discovered that book on my way back from somewhere in 2007. It was not available in India. And in 2016, I procured the rights. And in 2019, we published the book, much with fanfare. But somewhere I realized that the risk-taking capacity, appetite for new experiment is kind of very bleak, even in Hindi. So that one book that gave a lot of joy was Alka Saraugi ji's latest novel that we did, Gandhi or Sarla Devi Chaudhrani. That's the beautiful relationship description and the kind of research she brings on table. It's amazing. And the book that gave commercial success would be, I think, two titles I can say. Gunaho Ka Devta by Dharamveer Bharti and of course John Ilya, because it's Dharamveer Bharti ji's centenary year. This novel was written in 1959. First draft was prepared in 1957. Bharti ji thought that it was a badly written novel. A lot of his critics, he was just 23 years old when he wrote it. A lot of his critics also kind of said that it was a badly written novel. And he kind of accepted it as a way of protesting that, okay, fine, it's a badly written novel. But we just celebrated his centenary on 16th of January in Mumbai with much I couldn't believe the kind of love people showed for Dharamveer Bharti and the book. And every day on Instagram, we have at least 20 to 25 reels being tagged on to us that is making a meme out of that book. So in our, or maybe a younger generation, if a concept, a personality, a book turns into a meme, it has arrived. Very ironical, I don't know how it works, but it does. And so the sales figures are showing. So what I understood, my learning from Gunaho Ka Devta was that storytelling is important and we need to unwrap the books, our classics, our languages, giants, to be unwrapped parat dar parat. खोलना किताब को बहुत ज़रूरी है बिकॉज ये तो अच्छी बात है कि लिटरेचर फेस्टिवल में आके हम किताबों के साथ फ़ोटो खिंचा के बड़े खुश होते हैं, बड़ी अच्छी बात है. अब उसे खुलवाना पड़ेगा. सो वी नीड टू फैसिलिटेट दैट एंड एज अ पब्लिशिंग हाउस, एज एडिटर्स, एज मार्केटर्स, as publicists, we all of us are packed into one. I think all the roles we are doing ourselves. So we need to really show some love for books, open them up again, and I think that's the secret sauce that everybody knows about. Jai Ji.
Thank you very much.
And now we'll get you in to the conversation.
So,
how much time do we have?
जी.
एक छोटी सी
We've got
बात.
very little time.
एक मिनट कि जो बात मैं शुरू कर रहा था भारतीय भाषा प्रकाशन उद्योग के बारे में, हर्षा जी ने उसको आगे बढ़ाया. उसमें बस इतना ही कहना चाहता हूँ कि कठिन रास्ता ज़रूर है, बहुत कठिन है, लेकिन अगर हम थोड़ा सा भी कर पाए तो बहुत सारे रास्ते खुल जाएंगे. जैसे अभी हम भारतीय भाषाओं में भी आपस में किताबों के बारे में जानते नहीं हैं. अगर आपस में अनुवाद एक व्यवस्थित तरीके से हम बढ़ाएंगे तो उस आपस में भी किताबों के बारे में जान सकेंगे और एक दूसरे की किताबें मांग सकेंगे. और इसी तरह से विदेशी भाषाओं के मामले में है कि विदेशी भाषाओं के मामले में अभी एक तरफा है मामला कि हम उनकी किताबें भी मांगने उनके पास जाते हैं और अपनी किताबें बेचने भी उनके पास जाते हैं. अगर हम आपस में ये लेन देन बढ़ाएंगे, संवाद बढ़ाएंगे तो हो सकता है स्थिति बदल जाए. इसकी संभावना बहुत है. अब राजकमल प्रकाशन के बारे में मैंने कुछ नहीं बताया, सिर्फ 2 बातें कहूँगा. अभी हमें अपने बारे में मालूम था कि अभी हम 78 साल के हुए हैं. हर साल 28 फरवरी को हम अपना स्थापना दिवस मनाते रहे. अभी हमारे बच्चों ने जो नई यंग टीम है 1945 तक की किताबें खोज ली हैं कि अब 2 साल पहले की किताबें मिली तो अब हम समझ रहे हैं कि अभी हमें इस साल 80वां साल मनाएंगे। तो हम उनसे कह रहे थे कि भैया और पीछे चले जाओ, शायद 100 साल के हो जाएं। तो वो सब चल रहा है। और अभी सब जैसे नई किताबों के बारे में और अपनी पसंदीदा किताबों के बारे में बात कर रहे थे, तो मुझे हमेशा ये लगता रहा कि जैसे घर में होता है ना कि अपना सबसे छोटा बच्चा सबसे प्यारा लगता है, तो मुझे तो हर नई आने वाली किताब सबसे अच्छी लगती है, तो वही प्यारी लगती है। यही बात। धन्यवाद
जी।
We are completely out of time, I'm afraid, in terms of questions. We'll have to take them outside. I also wanted to say कि जयप्रकाश जी, आपको क्यों आश्चर्य हुआ? क्योंकि जो आदमी किताबों में इतना डूबा हुआ है और जो माध्यम बन सकता है आप सबको जोड़ने का, जिसके माध्यम से आप अपनी किताबों के बारे में अपनी बात कितने लोगों तक पहुंचा सकते हैं डिजिटल माध्यम की वजह से, उस आदमी को आश्चर्य क्यों हो रहा है कि वो इस राउंड टेबल पे है, ये मुझे आश्चर्य हो रहा है कहते हुए। तो आई एक्चुअली डू बिलीव दैट पीपल लाइक जयप्रकाश जी हु आर कनेक्टर्स, you know, amongst languages, amongst books. I see you as a person not कि आप सिर्फ हिंदी की किताबें प्रमोट करते हैं, आप किताबें प्रमोट करते हैं और आप वो माध्यम बन सकते हैं कि आप हर भाषा की किताब प्रमोट कर सकते हैं। तो मेरा कहना है कि आप सब लोग इनसे ज़रूर बात करें।
Thank you very much.
So I'm afraid we're completely out of time. We don't have time for questions formally, but please do step outside. Thank you very much for being a great audience, very patient.